call this meeting to order at 7:01. So happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
It's already the end of January. It's already like we're already a month in.
Yes.
Hope everyone's been staying cold and enjoying the snow. If you guys do enjoy the snow, I love the snow. Except I never envisioned shoveling a roof. But I have to shovel a roof. But anyway,
There's a lot of snow out there.
yeah, exactly. So Prabhu's not going to make it. He's out of town, and something came up with Rachel, so we still have the five of us, and we still have a quorum, so that's good. Any other kind of just general announcements or anything? Comments from the board? All right. I don't know. Were you going to introduce?
I would love
Yeah.
to. Everybody, this is Christina Modi Angola.
Yay.
She's been with us for 2 weeks now, and I mean, I think she's been doing a wonderful job getting to know the staff and getting to know the role and really picking up everything that I'm putting down on her. So she's been a wonderful asset to the
And she's been very
team.
helpful with getting this agenda and all that stuff put together too, so
for
thank you
sure.
for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, welcome aboard. And so, Mr. Chair, I did have one announcement if you'd oblige
Yep.
me,
Of course.
just because of the timing. With the town election coming up, I will not be running for re-election in May. I've just kind of run out of time. It's been a great run, but it's just one of those things where I just don't have the time to commit to it with the level of tenacity and such that I knows my standards. So, so with that, I guess I don't know how things are officially announced on the town clerk's website, but people can take out nomination papers, I think, on Groundhog Day, the 2nd of February.
Oh, is
So,
it good?
and so it's been a great run. It's been great working with all of you, and I'm not gone yet. I think we have 4 more meetings. So.
Yeah.
know.
Well, Roger, thank you for your service. And
Thank you.
It's been great getting to know you better.
Yes. And
Yes.
we got some pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do some pickleball.
Sounds
I'm not
good.
going away. So,
Yes, in your tenure, you've contributed kind of as chair. I can't remember if you were vice chair, so you've done a little bit of everything.
I just jump right in.
Yeah,
You
did.
Yeah, you did,
as
right?
chair.
First thing.
Wow.
I was.
So we have, 4 months to pile a lot of stuff on.
Yeah. Yep. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And I will, I will ask that the trustees start to socialize that we have an open position on the board too, because as much as we love Prabhu and his contributions, he was a write-in because we couldn't find anybody in time for the election. So we did have a vacancy coming up to the last election. So
Yep.
Right.
as much as we can do, like we have the luxury of almost kind of figuring out what skills we want on our board, which is pretty cool. Not a lot of boards get to do that. So, start talking to your friends and neighbors, lovers of the library, or just skills we'd
And
like
if
to
our
have.
staff, have obviously, like, if there's somebody they know loves the library and, wants to contribute, that would be
Yeah,
great.
I'll definitely put that to them.
And I plan on putting it on my sounding old Facebook page. And also I'll put something on All Things Grafton and Grafton Rise, and just to plug that opening. So who else is up?
That would be me. So
So do you want to make an announcement? Are you ready to one
I
way?
was not planning to make it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
All right.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, but there's still many months, right? A couple
Yeah.
months, right?
So,
Okay. All right. Well, with that, then we will move on and start working through the agenda. We do not have any minutes to approve, so we will have probably 2 sets next month to approve, which is good.
all right.
Then the next is approving the bills. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 warrants.
Mr. Chair, I move that we take up these warrants numbers 26 through 31 as a consent agenda, so that's a procedural motion.
Yep. Motion made
Second.
and seconded.
Oh, sorry. So do we? So are we taking meeting minutes? Yes. Okay. Terrific.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. It's also being recorded.
All right.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the procedural motion?
Yes, I thought, and at one of the last meetings, we had determined that we didn't need to have a consent agenda to approve them in bulk. But
But yeah, all right.
but we can
We can go
so
through it
certainly
this
this time. I think you weren't at that meeting
Oh, okay.
when we discussed it, so we can certainly do it this time around. There's no harm in it.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we can double check on that. Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the following warrants in the following amounts as and with the sources contained in the meeting packet. Warrant number 26 for $3,212.93. Warrant number 27 in the amount of $2,303.36. Warrant number 28 for $1,096.65. Warrant number 29 for $4,995.75. Warrant number 30 for $6,552.18. And warrant number 31 in the amount of $3,868.91.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions on any of the 6 warrants? They looked like they were all pretty standard expenses, typical expenses. All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion carried. Ongoing business, the Grafton Public Library Capital Campaign. Only a minor update from the campaign. Katrina put in a request for some small, they weren't small, but for a few items that the capital campaign approved. I think there was like the all-weather carpets, those water hog
Yes.
things.
3 rugs and some shelving for Heidi's office.
Yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
relatively few.
They've already made a huge difference in the amount of stuff that gets tracked into the library. So thank you.
Great.
Now, which office is this?
So the reference office, you know, the tiny little cubicle one,
Yeah.
right
Outside of the historic reading
for the
room.
historical reading room.
Yeah, that's small, right?
It's very small.
Shelving is a great idea.
So I think it was originally supposed to get shelving, and then maybe things got missed in the shuffle. So, yeah.
And being such a small office, the shelving will help.
I was surprised that it was an office.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So just a quick question. So, are the staff coming to you with, hey, it would be, or are you kind of soliciting feedback? Hey, what can we do to kind of make your
So,
workspace better?
Yeah. So this was part of my initial meeting with Heidi,
Great.
and it was also on the trustees.
Like
What's the
punch list?
document? The punch
Yeah,
list. Yes.
I think
thank you.
I think I recall this was on the list for quite some time, but it just
Yes.
never got like approached again.
Great.
So it was low hanging fruit because Heidi is so sweet and she doesn't want to ruffle any feathers or you know, be the squeaky wheel. So
Good.
She does have a lot of things. She's always dressing up for the different story times and not story times, the book reading
clubs.
groups. Yeah, the clubs. So
yeah.
Great.
So thank you.
And other than that, I think that's the only update for the capital campaign. Any other questions? Okay. Next would be the Friends membership and update by Carrie.
yeah. So since we met, we had the Friends board meeting, which Katrina attended. So thank you again. And last night we actually had a planning session for the spring egg hunt, which is the Friends is going to run again on the Grafton Common on Saturday, March 28th. There'll be 3 hunts again this year. So there'll be a sensory friendly one to start, and then 2 of the larger hunts after that. So very excited, for that. It's always a great event, and you have a lot of volunteers helping with that. So. And then also, the Friends are preparing for February some book bundle sales, and also a new idea which is really cute for Valentine's Day, which is a blind date with book. So there'll be some kind of cute, nicely wrapped books that have a little hint as to what they are, and it's a fundraiser again for the Friends supporting the library as well. So. But those are really the major activities that the Friends are doing. So.
Great. So no like activities in the winter for like in the past, they've done that golf thing. I mean, this was many years ago, but, so no active programs like that planned.
Definitely has been talk about doing another, one of those like type of activities, but the two immediate ones are definitely the in February the bundles and the blind date with book, and then March 28th Easter is it's early, and usually the spring egg hunt is before Easter, so. It's a very big activity. We talked about eggs. Like there's 5,000 eggs that need to be filled for the event. So we get National Honor Society and typically Boy Scouts, which actually I wanted to mention to Erin, because usually the Boy Scouts help out on the day, which is wonderful. So there's procuring everything for the hunt. Also. Coordinating with our children's room, so touch base with Sarah Bannister, and there'll be activities in the library, and weather permitting, hopefully on the front lawn of the library as well. Last year we had a little bit of snowstorm, so that didn't work exactly the way we envisioned, but there will be activities in the library as well.
Great. All right, any other questions?
Yeah,
Friends?
so you said membership also. Did you want to talk about board membership?
Oh yeah, Friends membership.
That's what it said on the agenda.
Friends
That's
membership.
kind of a typo. Or,
So
I didn't list. I mean,
it's a great mention because this time of year is when we usually will re-up our membership with the Friends, individual memberships, as a partnership with the Friends and the support that they give us and the board. We want to make sure that we're members in good standing of the Friends, so that we can also go to their board meetings as well. Sorry, their annual meetings. As patrons who are Friends members. So rather than them trying to track us down individually, we had discussed just becoming members at the same time every year, so that we wouldn't have to figure out when, is my membership of, I don't know, who do I reach out to? So we just decided as a board we would renew December, January timeframe. So that's a great reminder. I'm glad it was written that way, because that means I need to re-up.
yeah, and I think that's a great idea. I typically renew at the annual meeting, so
You do.
so I did renew then.
Very good.
But if anybody needs to renew, that's obviously wonderful, and it's very much appreciated. There are very reasonable memberships, and also a lot of people will just very generously donate larger amounts. So so yeah, but thank you.
great. Thanks for the reminder. I don't think we get reminders from the organization.
Been difficult, and
Right.
it's a cost for them to send out the form.
Right.
When we just do it online anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
didn't mention it at the last one, but typically around this time of year, they do work on a mailing too.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So I just encourage everyone to see when you renewed and renew if you haven't. Great. Thank you for that. The next item is missing meeting minutes by Katrina.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on that. So Christine and I are working on watching the old meeting minutes from 2023 and 2024 that have been recorded, but we don't have records for, so that we can make the minutes and then bring them to the board for approval. I took some time to look through our shares drive in the library to see if I could dig up some of the older minutes with no success. So, and I did look through all of the kind of paper files that are in my office as well. So my due diligence was done on that with no luck, especially for those 2016 and 2017 dates.
Yeah, 2016, and the funny thing about 2016 and 2017 is that they were once on the server, but our server crashed. As far as the GCTV server, we lost thousands of hours worth of meetings, and so that's why, anytime we want to rely on technology, we need to do it quickly. And so, and then the other thing about 23 and 24 is that when I was chair, one of my habits, and I think I shared this with you, is that if I made the agenda, and even if the minutes weren't done and I knew in advance of the meeting that certain minutes weren't done, I would just keep on piling them on as a placeholder. But then once they disappeared, that was sort of an internal note that at some point we approved them. And so the question becomes, did you look at the agendas to see where I may have listed, or whoever was running the meeting, I was chair during a year during that time, where if the meeting minutes were on the agenda to be approved, then they disappeared the following meeting. It means that somewhere during that meeting we approved them, and it's possible that they didn't get submitted to the town clerk. But what you're saying is that you can't even find anything internally.
I can't find anything.
All right.
Because I did find a few of those examples where I saw that they were approved, so the draft existed somewhere, but I think I found some of them.
Oh, good.
But that's why we should circle back,
Yeah. Okay.
and see.
'Cause I did
And I
s-
know there was a large group that were, policy committee meeting minutes, and I had reached out to, when I ran into, Debbie last week, I asked her to check, so she was gonna check her computer just to see if they happened to be there, cause she was the scribe at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I haven't
Can
heard
you
back
talk
from
to
her.
Debbie, too?
I have not talked to Debbie.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from her since then, but
Okay.
you might wanna
It's-
check in with her.
And so my reference to 23 would have been before my tenure, and so, which was in May of 23, and I recall that there were some that were early in 23, right, like January, February, March.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are a couple from January and February. Okay.
Right.
Well, it is an ongoing battle, especially for those old ones, so certainly, let's try to make sure that, at least for this year, moving forward, that we can try to keep track of everything, whether it's the policy committee meeting or this larger meeting.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, thanks for doing that, because that's a little bit of a pain, and someone will have fun watching some old movies, or
Thank
old,
you, Christine.
old meetings.
You learn about our history.
Yeah, let us know if you,
She threatened to leave me earlier.
well, keep in mind that they are recorded, and people can always view the recording, so the minutes don't have to be super detailed. We want to capture the key points, of course. But some of our previous scribes were very, what's the right word?
Meticulous.
Meticulous, and they were great, very detailed minutes, but you don't always have to be that detailed.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, one of the things too is that I think that that gets lost in the shuffle is that we kind of beat ourselves up sometimes trying to be overly detailed, and minutes were never meant to be a play-by-play verbatim, and it was just meant to primarily just give a high-level overview and record the votes, and sometimes they can get cumbersome. They shouldn't be like dozens of pages long. It's not a transcription. So,
What we need is Grafton Cable to use AI and
yeah.
provide an AI summary.
Yeah, so
And then we can start with that.
So I was going to bring it up. There are actually, I think Google Gemini, if you give it a video, it'll give you a summary.
Really?
But I've tried it, and like you almost have to be a member of the meeting to validate
know
the
what-
accuracy
right.
of what you're reading, which is difficult.
That's true.
But if you can get a transcript, because transcripts do often show up along the side of some
Yeah, like
meetings.
Teams. Like
Teams
when
does
we-
great
yeah,
job.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It does do a great
So
job. So we could
rather than
use
a summary, maybe you could get a transcript and then
Plug it
You know,
into AI
it-
and have it make meeting minutes.
yes, yes,
That would be
that would probably be the right way to do it.
a dream. Okay. All right, thank you.
And then I owe the committee 2 sets of executive session minutes. I promised them this month. I guess I lied, right? But I'll have them in February. It was the executive session where we discussed upcoming director.
Right,
interviews
during
and-
the director search.
Yeah, director search. So
Okay. Great. But it'll be awesome to have Christine keeping track of this moving forward. Okay, next, the walkabout. I'm assuming the walkabout was not done in the,
I actually went by today because I figured it would be worthwhile doing it with the snow.
okay,
And I have a couple pieces from December.
great,
So,
okay.
Great.
Chris?
yeah. So in general, one of the reasons I went by was just to check the snow clearing, which is actually I thought was phenomenal. It was really, really really pretty good. One thing to keep an eye on in the future that I noticed that a lot of the downspouts are covered by snow because there's so much, just as things thaw out. And then the main entrance, so not the little pull through by the book drop, but the main entrance is probably a little narrow for two cars. But that being said, the snowbank on my right-hand side as I came out was probably 10 feet tall, so I'm not sure
Easily.
where it's going to go. Something worth noting. The temperatures in the main part of the library, which had historically had issues and that they replaced a bunch of transponders, continue to look really good. The historic reading room was a little bit on the lower side. I suspect that you already have noted that when you mentioned about the invoices for those. So that may be a known thing and has gone on. There was one of the very front study room above the main entrance. So those two smaller ones. Looked like there was some electrical work or something done. There was some paint that could be used for a patch there. And then the EV chargers have been out, but I know that those are also really finicky to fix. I know Gene had trouble with that in the fall. So that may or may not be fixable. And I think it was already on the list. I think that was the main pieces. The poles have been painted and I thought looked good. And I know that has been for a little while now, but not something that's come up. So that looks good. Yeah, those are the main pieces.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Poles, do you mean the blue?
So there was like the I don't know if it actually was stainless, but there was like a raw metal pole, like, so you can't drive through the entrance of the library.
Oh,
And they and at one, I think it was the November meeting maybe, we approved painting them yellow. I can't remember which fall meeting it was.
Oh, right.
yeah.
There was
that's
a
right.
walkthrough by the DPW or some town, and that was one of their recommendations, was to paint it yellow like elsewhere in town. It looked pretty good. So, and they have been painted. So.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. All right, so moving on to new business. It looks like all of these are Katrina, so we can start with the SWOT.
Yeah.
For those of you not familiar with it, it's, gosh,
Strengths,
weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yeah.
So the intent here was to have Katrina, well, think about those four categories, and thinking that it would be an idea for the trustees and for the future work on the strategic plan if there are certain areas that we wanted to focus on.
Yeah, so I didn't know, I'm assuming that you do not want me to go line by line through all of this. Did everybody have an opportunity to take a look?
It was in the meeting
Questions for
packet.
me?
It's an excellent job. Yeah, I think you did a very good job summarizing where we're at.
Thank you.
So maybe what we do, if people didn't get a chance to read it through in detail, which I'm guessing they probably didn't, we can,
I did, and I just had a couple of questions. I like how this is broken up, as far as it's an easy read, and it breaks things down as sort of punch list, for lack of a better term. Regarding internal weaknesses, number 6, as far as marketing efforts, do we have internal expertise on web stuff or marketing? As far as social media, I'm not sure, other than social media, what marketing efforts we really do. Back in the day, there'd be mailings and other more archaic forms of communication, but what is our internal expertise regarding social media?
I don't know that there's expertise per se.
Proficiency.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that there's proficiency. I think that there's not it's sort of piecemeal. So I think the children's department will post as needed. The borrower services and reference will post as needed, but there's no overarching strategy to any of it. And in my experience, it's more effective if everybody's working together as a team on a long-term strategy. So that, especially with social media, you have to be posting regularly in order to keep your footprint on, all of your followers. So it's something that I would very much like to implement thoughtfully.
I know Debbie was doing a lot of posting, or like a little while ago.
On TikTok, yeah.
It would be, I think, maybe good to like touch base with her.
Yep, definitely. I'd love to form, not only a Facebook plan, but a TikTok and an Instagram plan, as well as maybe more of a newsletter, constant contact presence, mailings if we can, and coming up in another thing is the website. So,
All right.
Do the department heads have that in their job description? Like, presumably they would be responsible for their individual groups' kind of marketing efforts.
I don't know what it says specifically about. I'll have to look into that.
And then as far
I mean,
as
I
staff-
agree there should be an overarching person too, but it seems like each department should kind of have their own plan on how they're going to reach out to their community, whether it's
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
And they do, in advance of like the summer programming, they put together like the kind of, I don't know if you call it a brochure or the calendar.
Yeah.
So that's a big push, to communicate, because that goes out to all the Grafton school children, and I'm not sure what additional outreach they do, but.
Yeah.
So, but you're right, like having an overarching strategy is a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
And then as far as staff development, I know oftentimes there's like a large swath, a group where there'll be staff development and there'll be a larger group, but for whoever may be willing and designated to sort of keep up on these marketing efforts, having maybe small group staff development on these media and marketing and web design, not web design, but I guess that all comes into play. But, social media. So,
I think the library does a pretty good job, at least on Facebook and Instagram.
That's
I
good.
mean, I see them posting events coming up, references to the calendar and different events there.
Good.
yeah, the library does a good job. My frustration has been in the last few years, I get whatever algorithms are going on, I'll see things like 5 days post facto. I was like, what's going on?
Oh,
And so I don't know what's going on there, but and that's through no fault of the library, that I'll say, oh, I wish I had seen this 5 days ago or whatever. Under opportunities on the final page, on external leveraging grants and partnerships. As a municipality, as a library, we certainly have access to certain grant opportunities, but as a town, we're not a nonprofit. So I think of like the Friends or even the Capital Campaign that may have access to grant opportunities that the town does not, just because it's not a it's not a nonprofit. And so, just to throw that out there, I don't know, Carrie, as far as, whether the Friends pursues those
I've
grant
never heard
opportunities.
of the Friends pursuing grant opportunities, so that's a great idea. If there are some, we should try
Yeah.
more. But I definitely haven't heard of us getting a
Right.
grant from the Friends.
Right.
I know in the past, the director has found opportunities and the trustees have helped out, like with the cupola. We had that grant for the cupola. So certainly if you encounter any grants that you might need help applying for, you can bring that to this group.
Wonderful.
And then, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
But-
I know it's it's great. You put a really nice document together. If you guys did not get a chance to look through it, we can have a agenda item next month if there are any questions or comments on it as well.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you for that. Next would be website proposals.
Sure. So it's my understanding that Tom was working on updating the website. He had reached out to this Revise folks, which is the second proposal in the list. And I had reached out to my director cohort in other Massachusetts libraries to see who they had worked with that they really liked, and contacted a few people to, you know, kind of understand what services they offered and how much money they cost and all of that. Which is part of I was speaking with William the other day, and that's part of the procurement process. So we're good on that. I would like to propose, if the board is interested in still going ahead with website redevelopment, going with Evan Barta of EBPRI.
And that's the first one listed in
That's
the package, which and it's looks
on
like
page
a lower
9.
price
Yeah.
than the second one.
It is much lower, but not for lack of quality. So he actually comes highly recommended by a director, my mentor, somebody that I trust. He's done a number of websites, library-specific websites in the area. He's actually a library director in Warwick, Rhode Island. So he's familiar with the needs of libraries specifically, very intimate. We had a long conversation about ADA compliance and remediation. He's going to be rolling out a service shortly because I'm not sure, you might be aware that the laws are changing in Massachusetts for municipalities in terms of accessibility standards. And so all of the PDF documents that we have on our website are not going to be in line with the new laws pretty soon. So that is top of mind for him in terms of making sure that websites are in compliance, as well as the usual, you know, usability studies and accessible, you know, easy to use for users, essentially. So, I don't know, thoughts, questions?
I have some comments and a question. Thank you for proceeding with this. Cities and towns under 50,000 have to be in compliance with Title II of ADA by April 24th of 27. So we have a little time to play with, not a lot. And I like the time frame that they, both Evan and Stephanie, have laid out, that it's doable and we're tackling it with a decent amount of time. One of the things that I had done, I took the liberty this afternoon to speak with Christy Proctor. She's a fellow Accessibility Advisory Commission member in town and is also Director of Student Accessibility Services and Assistive Technology at Quinsigamond Community College in Worcester. And they've been using the Drupal platform for like 3 to 4 years, and they love it.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I had asked her about is there was some wording and some articles out there that there was a significant learning curve to this platform. And this may be actually probably will be tied into the other agenda item about freeing up different services and the whole idea of having a page. I said, what are we talking about? Well, her advice was that there would need to be a staff member to upload content. Content would need to be accessible before it goes up on the site, and that on the front end of things, that it may take half of an FTE to just be focused on this task and getting things up to speed. And once things are up to speed, probably a quarter of an FTE.
That FTE is like within the library?
Within the library, yeah. And so whoever is the most tech savvy, I mean, ideally it would be someone within the library, but it would need to be someone to really get this done right. It would need to be someone that would be focused on that. And that was her estimate of the time that, from based on their experience in rolling it out at Quinsig, how much it would, how much resources it would take. So, and then the other thing is that as far as this is an overview about but the details of remediating issues and how do they define remediation, how do they train people, and what time frame and hours would be required of that, and like who fixes things. So so this is like an overview, but I'm sure that there'll be some more fine print. But I think this is a good time that we're killing two birds with one stone, where we were talking about an overhaul, but we would be forced with the ADA overhaul anyway. So I think it's good timing that we tackle it all at once. And so, and I think your recommendation is a good one.
Thank you.
So,
I do have some responses to your concerns. So, while I know that Drupal does take, it is a steep learning curve, he creates a content management system that is very easy for staff to, and intuitive for staff to use. So, it's not like we're diving into code and
Right.
managing the CSS or anything like that. It's really a very he did take some time to show me the content management system on the back end. It's very simple, it's very intuitive.
right.
It's even easier, honestly, than what we have right now, which is WordPress based. So I think that the most of the time up front is going to be porting over the information that
Right.
exists on our website
Right.
to the new content management system, which he will assist with. He won't do all of it, but he will assist with. I've already reached out to staff and gathered a website team who are interested in helping me to do that work. This is actually my wheelhouse.
Oh, good.
I've redesigned
All
a
right.
few websites, and this
That was my next
I
question.
love this.
Because
So
there was because this is a Grafton Public Library website development team. I was like, were those his words or did you have input? I was like, who are these people that are going to be the team? So
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, no. So
And I'm
actually
glad it's your
really excited about
wheelhouse
this.
because this, a lot, some people really struggle with technology. So, that this is something that you're tackling with such enthusiasm is really good to hear. So,
Yeah, I'm excited to do it. So.
awesome.
I noticed in the information you also included hosting. Who hosts our current website?
So, I can't remember the
And
name.
would we move away from that hosting, or
We would move away from him.
okay?
Yeah.
What's the current? Do you know what our current cost is?
With the what?
The current hosting cost.
The current I do not.
So the person who developed the current website is also the one that's hosting it.
Correct.
Correct, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's $80 a month, and it's paid annually.
Oh, so it'll be less because this is
It would
$60
be less.
a month.
Yeah, I did look at that.
I didn't realize that they are both the developer and the hoster.
And their certificate says bedfordlibrary.org on our website, so there you go.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah. So, anyways.
that's
Yeah, I think the hosting cost is smart, and it provides you guys, they don't just hand it over to you and say good luck.
Right.
So, I did take a look at the other proposal, and I did like that they, it's more expensive, but they had a 5-year plan, which was pretty cool, and that they would offer to do a redesign, because that's kind of where we are now. It's like, well, we need a redesign. So are we gonna, in 5 years, are we gonna have to do this project again, or is the web team, right, at the Grafton Public Library going to be empowered enough to be able to keep our site modern, right? Because Drupal is a pretty modern platform. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm assuming so. That it would be something that, we, as long as we keep paying the hosting fee and have that support, we could persist 5-10 more years as long as the technology is relevant.
Yeah.
Is that accurate, you think?
I think it is accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't speak to Evan's style or modus operandi, but in my experience with library website platforms, the hosts are, in my experience, more than willing to look at rebrands or redesigns on a smaller scale as needed.
Mhm.
So I can certainly reach out to him and see if that's something that,
Well, no, it's just more of a general comment.
yeah.
But it does look like they'll do billable work for us too, if they find whatever we're asking for support is out of scope. So that's good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a comment that says large overhauls to site content or functionality after launch plus 3 months will be billed at $60 an hour. Quotes will be provided before any work is completed, so.
Yeah.
It does indicate that.
Yeah, and have we given the current host of our WordPress site an opportunity or no?
No, because he works solely with WordPress, and I wanted to move away from that.
Okay, great answer. Thank you.
And I noticed the second quote has all these kind of add-ons, you know, email notification. Are any of those things features we want to have in the new one, and does the other guy support that?
It's not anything that I was. I don't think you need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were bells and whistles that
Yep.
were unnecessary.
So you're looking for the board to approve funding for, what's the name of this thing? It's got a strange name, right?
For
PBRI.
EPBRI.
So that, I think that's
Evan-
his initials, right? Because his
Evan
name is
P.
Yes.
Evan
Barda.
Barda,
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Rhode
right?
Island,
So-
yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to fund the website project with EBPRI.
You got it.
Correct? In the amount of, just remind me, is it $4,500?
Mm-hmm.
$4,500 for the website project. And I don't think we need to discuss hosting fees.
Yeah.
In-
I'll second the motion.
Okay, great.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion or questions?
Funding source?
State aid, thank you.
Okay.
Other questions? It's great. I mean, we've been talking about a website redesign for years now, so
Oh,
it'll be
good.
nice to see
Yes.
this thing go
Yeah.
forward.
My only comment is, you know, please remember the friends when, you know, because there is a page, like, there is a link kind of for the friends, so, just,
Absolutely.
and I think if there's, I think they're willing, like, they would like to work cooperatively with the library, so, like, you know, if there's any extra fee or anything, I would, you know, you kind of bring it to them, but they'll be very excited to hear
Great.
that you selected somebody, so.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So
def-
are you asking Carrie for, all right, so the Friends website is really not part of this, is it?
No,
It is,
just- it's
well,
linked.
it kind of is, it's like, I believe.
It's it's a separate domain though.
you host your own site, right? The
Yes.
friends or the friends do.
friendsgpl.org.
But it was the same developer, it was WordPress, so maybe,
Oh.
yeah, it was, but it's not something that they can easily change, like, it's always been a challenge.
But is there any reason why the friends can't keep that and just update the links in the new?
I think that they would like to redesign their page, and be consistent with what the library's doing. So, I think we should raise it at the next, you know, discuss it at the next
Sure.
meeting. I can email them and let them know, but yeah, I think they would like to work, you know, cooperatively, and, if there's, you know, yeah, and I think they would be willing to fund their share, but
Their
we want to make
portion.
sure that it links in.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool.
Makes sense to me.
Great. Any other questions or discussion?
Yes, so the hosting fee will just come out of the budgeted funds for the website.
And it's less, so.
Correct.
Yep.
Excellent.
Save a little money.
All right, no other discussion, do vote by, not roll call. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Declare the motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next up is SharePoint.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this up in light of our minute debacle. So I made the policy committee a guinea pig. The town uses Microsoft SharePoint to organize its documents. And I created a policy subcommittee SharePoint site that houses all of our, or will house all of our agendas and meeting minutes and policies that we're working on and finished policies, et cetera, et cetera. And I was wondering if that would be of interest to the board, to have a separate SharePoint site that houses all of our agendas and meeting minutes and related documents. And that way, when scribes move on, or and their email gets deleted and we no longer have access to it, we still have all of the documents. They belong to the town, they're on the town server, and everybody has access to them all the time. I'll let Aaron speak to this because he's the one who has to deal with the two-factor authentication, but it does require a little bit of work on the back end where we've got to get IT to add everybody's emails individually onto the site, and then you've got to set up two-factor authentication in order to get onto the SharePoint site itself. So.
And then how would we manage the coming and going of the trustees, for example?
So it's as simple as just having IT add or delete emails.
Okay. Is there any possibility to have someone as another owner that could do that as opposed to IT? I mean, normally SharePoint, you can assign an owner. Maybe that's you, someone in the library.
I am an owner. I am the owner.
Maybe this is too much in the details.
Yeah,
That's too much
I
in the
do think that it requires, well, so whoever has admin access to the town's SharePoint site has the ability to add and delete users.
So is this more sort of working documents? Because for historic purposes, any department or not department but committee, that when we go on the town website or when we're looking for meeting minutes, and then under the new way of it shows, all right, is the agenda posted or the minutes come in, and then is the little TV icon, is it recorded? So this would duplicate the hard documents, but then it would, I guess, primarily serve as a repository for like working documents.
That's my hope. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Couldn't
so-
it be both though? I mean, like it's kind of like a backup because if they
It
got
could be.
lost on the town website, like,
Yeah.
because that's what happened before. Because they were all submitted before and they disappeared. So
Yep.
Yeah, but certainly there's the agendas, there's the policy stuff, but there's other, we came up with an onboarding plan for Katrina.
Yeah, so I think the question you asked the board, is there value in this, right? And that's what I want to pick apart, right? So, we have posted agendas, no value putting them in SharePoint. And meeting minutes, right? Posted meeting minutes, no value there. So what is it that we would want access to, and I think you hit it right on the head, is working documents, right? So anything that the board is working with the director on, this anything that we're posting here, we're working on individually, because if we work on something as a board, it has to be publicly, right? Done and worked on publicly, right? In public session. So I think there's certainly value for the policy subcommittee, right? Because that just to have a repository of the most up-to-date documents, right? Because we make revisions all the time. SharePoint is awesome about having a revision history, because I don't often know which copy of the document I'm working on. But I think as a repository so things don't get lost, I think that's a perfect reason to have one for the board. I don't know how active any of us will be on that though. It's more for library purposes to and you guys have always had some repository for library board stuff. It used to be Google Drive, right? But I don't know that I ever had access to that. So now we're talking about opening up access to trustees.
right, but again, like I guess like we would go back to the missing meeting minutes. Like I mean, I'm kind of surprised that those disappeared. Like they
Yeah,
were.
but that's not
approved.
for you and I. That's for the library staff to be
Right.
posting somewhere.
But when we have turnover, like if we know that everything is there, even if we have turnover in any of the positions, then we'll have access.
But
to it.
there's no reason why Christine can't have the document sitting in the trustee space as a draft.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but we don't need to be looking at draft stuff, as things are getting worked on,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But
no.
down the road, if we ever need to look for something, all of it's gonna be in that one
Yeah.
place.
So we could be like, oh, like if we got this, like, oh, your meeting minutes are missing. At least we were like, well, it's at least
Yeah.
it's there on. It should be there on that shared repository.
I think it's a great idea, and I support it. I just don't know that how active we're going to be in there.
Yeah.
We're not going to be very active. But it's, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea, and you should.
Because the
pursue
only
it.
thing basically would be more or less policy subcommittee stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, and
It'd be
a
99%
lot of
of
value
it,
there.
right?
But like Doug said,
But you
like
can
when we did the
envision,
search
we do
committee,
the goal, we do the
yeah.
goals,
That's
or
true.
we do
Yeah, the onboarding,
onboarding plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we did the interview.
and then in 2 years, or, no, in the
Strategic
future,
plan.
when you move on, and someone has to do a new onboarding plan, it's gonna be sitting
already
there,
there.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that you're gonna be here, you're gonna be here for a
That's
very
right.
long
I have
time.
no
You're gonna retire
intention
in Grafton, right? You're gonna retire in Grafton.
Yeah.
We hope so.
Yeah, anyway,
I agree. I think if we could start gathering all the board stuff and have it in one location. But to the question I think you wanted me to address was with the process for getting in. And I think it was very Microsoft heavy in terms of making you download the Microsoft Authenticator and using the push notifications because they don't offer like text messages or email two-factor. So you have to download an authenticator app. You might be able to get away with Google or your favorite authenticator, but it forced me kind of into using Microsoft. It wasn't terrible. I did it all on my phone while I was on vacation. So
You did it on vacation.
I was waiting in line for the Seven Dwarfs minecart ride, and it was unbearably hot. And the kids were like playing with the gems and like the cake. I don't know. I'm just like,
I want to read your memoirs.
yeah, I was about to pass out. It was so hot in there. But yeah, I got in. So yeah,
I don't think we need to vote on this.
no.
No,
I have one question
Good to
though.
go.
Yeah.
So I'm completely supportive. I think clearly you coming on board, you probably have identified a need here, and so I'm fully supportive of that. I think SharePoint's fine. I use Duo and Microsoft Authenticator apps for it, so you can use multiple different ones. The one question I have is, I'm curious, so we've been talking about kind of board documents and things of that sort. I imagine, because I think the library is typically on the Google Suite. Is that true?
So the town moved away from Google.
Yep.
I'm trying to personally move towards what the town is using. So we're sort of straddling both.
Okay, so maybe
Right
this,
now.
so my question was gonna be if there's a need for this outside of just kind of board documents, if there's a need for kind of additional ways to perpetually store work product from, even if it's not necessarily boards, but employees as they move on. Doesn't necessarily need to be lumped in with this decision, but, if we're seeing this as this is a need now for these, is that also a need for other places when we lose access to emails and things of that sort? So that's all I would ask, but I think this is a great idea, particularly if you think it's a need.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is building repairs funding.
Okay, so Doug, this is related to our conversation that we had with
Yep.
William yesterday. Of course, I'm making notes. I don't know how you want to handle this because it was such a short turnaround time. I didn't get an opportunity to send the document that William sent me out to the board.
Do we
Get a
have
lot
like
of
the,
money.
were the invoices in the report?
I have the invoices here. They
Okay.
were not. And I'm happy to pass this around. I don't know how you want
So
to handle it.
I would just say that anything that we review needs to go into the
Correct.
to the
You have to add that
Whatever-
to the meeting
whatever we-
packet afterwards.
I can
yeah.
absolutely do
Yep,
that.
so you can hand that,
Okay.
pass that around.
So I'm a little
Ignore
nervous.
me.
What is
Thank
this?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Just one copy or multiple? Okay.
There, one copy. So the library has a number of long-term major building repairs that I'm sure many of them are not going to be a surprise to you. For instance, as Chris mentioned, the HVAC system, so H5, there's a unit on the building that is no longer connected to the mini splits in the historical reading room, which is why the historical reading room hovers at around 59 degrees. it's basically unusable. So we're working with Renaud, and actually I'm bringing in the building inspector, and she is helping me to identify a longer term solution for that room rather than just keep replacing the mini splits as they
So did it
fail.
break? Like, was it connected and then it, or it just wasn't designed well?
My understanding for this time is that there's a leak in the pipe somewhere and they want to fix this leak. But I think, I mean, you all know what's happened over the years. They've replaced the mini splits 3 times. They keep breaking because they're too small for the room, the space that they're in,
I'm gonna share that.
and there needs to be a larger.
Is this the same document
Is this
that's in your monthly report, the 36,000?
Yeah, so this is a different document, but this was what I was going to
summarizes it?
present to you. This is summarizing
Okay.
all of the things, yes. So that's one example of all of the repairs that are happening or will be happening over the next few months. The other big thing is our water heater is going. We had the plumber come in, take apart the water heater, and pull out all kinds of silt. The water heater is so scaled that he says it's 6 months before it fails. And if we don't install a filtration system into the library on a what's the word? It's not residential, but
Commercial?
commercial scale. Thank you. On a commercial scale, the next water heater that we replace the current one with will fail eventually. So that's going to be a huge cost that needs to be addressed. So they're above and beyond what we have appropriated for regular building and repairs. We have sort of these large scale issues that need to be addressed. I got the go ahead from William and Evan to do the repairs that have come in, and they've been paying for them out of a separate municipal fund for the town administrative building. Yesterday, Rachel and Doug and William and I and Evan had a conversation around this about bringing it to the trustees to see if you would be willing to set aside a certain amount of money for me to take care of these kinds of issues as they come up. So not all of this has been billed. I haven't gone ahead with a lot of these things. We're still working on the HVAC situation. We're still working on the filtration system. We haven't gotten the quote yet from the plumber. I haven't gotten the second opinion yet from the other HVAC company that the building inspector brought in. But I imagine these are going to be pretty big ticket items. So, and we've already expended all of our building and repair funds. It's gone. The Leeds account is gone.
So the Leeds, when did we finally expend all the monies in the Leeds account?
It was recently, I think right around the time that I came on board,
Okay.
because the finance director shut it down when Eileen and I were trying to pay a bill from it. She's like, sorry, there's no more money in there. So,
And I had asked them to get us kind of a list of items that, like the list of the balance and stuff to see just to see, but they said they expended that at the end of last year. Or towards the end of last year.
So the 36,000 that's on in the packet has so the filtration system Smith to be determined. So the Smith invoices that are there, does that totals the 12,000, but then there's going to be more?
so the Smith invoice that's in that packet was for his repair of the existing water heater.
So that's it, and it comes to 12,000. I saw 7,000. I saw 5,000.
That's not even in this one.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, let's go for, Roger first.
Yeah,
First.
it has to do with, and this may be nuanced that, and I'll think of the school department. They have a lot of buildings, and we go to town meeting, and there's a roof issue or there's a boiler issue. And I remember in recent years where there's been a big expense regarding, let's say, a boiler or a heater or an HVAC system, where it becomes part of the town's capital budget. And I don't know what that threshold is as far as the dollar amount and, its usable lifespan, about how the town defines what a capital budget is to be part of that list. Because there must be some threshold where it becomes too great to be considered just regular operational. And especially where we've identified some of these larger items. Might there be some of these items that are one and done? I think, yeah. But if there are also ones that are larger and that we keep on band-aiding them, and we'll be eventually spending some big money on them. So I would like to see what the parameters are of what we would keep within our budgetary items and what would be extracted in part of the the town's capital plan. And there's always this laundry list that adds up to this bottom line figure at spring or fall town meeting. I think it's spring town meeting. So,
Yeah, I don't know if any of these would fall under the capital though, right? Except for maybe the water heater. Well, except for the ones that say TBD.
but the thing is that I thought that the threshold was $10,000, but I'm sure there have been departments or buildings where they put a laundry list together of like items and
Right.
called it one capital item. It didn't have to be every single line was separately 10,000, but they were all related to keeping either repairing systems or keeping them online, where the total added up to whatever that threshold was. And I think we've probably reached a point where it shouldn't be part of the operational budget if we're expecting that it's a big repair. So,
Can you clarify? So when we talked to Evan and William last night, there was this $24,000 memo, and that's for items that have already been completed.
They've already been, so that's the total sum of the invoices in that packet that's in your hands.
And is that reflected in the?
Some of them are, but not
Some
all
of them are, but not all of them.
Because
I didn't
this
have
says
time.
there are currently 4 invoices pending for maintenance work, so that makes it sound like the maintenance work has not been done yet.
No, those have been completed.
Okay.
So
The
we
barnyard,
got
the
invoice
Bernard
set.
roofing for necessary repair work to address leaks and installation of additional copper.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to add that to the list. This was a little older, but
did this arise in part out or in whole out of the facilities assessment committee work?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think these are all just items that have been,
Okay,
Come up.
ongoing.
yeah.
Okay,
I think maybe
So-
the bottom two might have, right?
okay.
Yes.
So, I just want to try to clarify what you're looking for the board to provide funding for tonight versus other items. Because the normal routine, Katrina asked about, having the trustees give her authority to have some kind of pool of money that she doesn't have to come back to this committee for.
Right.
But the normal process would still be coming to this committee, getting approval for spending the state aid. But in cases where something needs to get done, between the month, we don't want to have an emergency meeting, that would allow her to kind of approve those expenses right away. But that seems separate from this, right? This is the town administrator, they've already expended the $24,769. They're looking for the board to approve funding that.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're asking for even more than that because there's some items in there that aren't on here and vice versa, right? So,
Correct.
Right.
so
So So this isn't a future expense. You're saying 24,000 has already been
It's already been
Correct.
encumbered. All right.
And there's four of them. There's the Encore Fire Protection for 8505. So two of those items are on this list on the computer. Roofing for 8550. Smith Plumbing for a little over 5,000. And then Renaud for 2703. So yeah, those aren't. I don't see
Smith
them on.
was more because there was more than one invoice for Smith.
Yeah. So I think we should separate the two, and we should work on this 24,000 first.
Sure.
May I see that, please?
Yeah. No,
Oh, if you're ready to make a motion, fine.
no. I was just going to reread these things, right? So the four expenses. Did I already read through all four of them? I did. So I'll let you look at them.
So it's 127 of 26 from the town administrator.
Because I do think we should consider what Roger's talking about for some of these major expenses, like the heating situation in the historical section. Let's just say that ends up being $50,000.
Please.
I mean, that's something that, we don't want to spend state aid on. That should be something that we should look at other ways to spend that, or fund that situation.
I agree.
Or the filtration system for water. I mean, those are more like a capital expense in my opinion.
So as far as the memorandum of agreement, town administrator is referring to, the care and custody is, it was joint. He's saying that it's to his office. But I mean, I think that the idea was for it to be a partnership.
Partnership, but it gave them the authority.
The authority to
go
work
through,
on, yeah.
work on this separately.
Especially where they're drawing from that maintenance account.
Well, that's the municipal maintenance account that they're talking about. They want us to approve funding to move state aid money into that municipal account to pay back those 24,000.
Are there any restrictions on how state aid money is spent?
I don't think so as far as those four items. Although we have other potential funding sources, we could look at trusts that we have control over.
I looked at those.
I don't know if those might be something we think about for other expenses, maybe not this one, if they need a decision tonight.
So is state aid money, is that the pool of money that if we didn't spend, it would carry over?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we don't lose that money.
Right.
And we had what's the right word? We hadn't spent much of that for a number of years in anticipation of using it for funding a lot of the renovation type projects.
So do we know what the state aid balance is?
I do. It's
We
right
do.
there in
It's
the.
in here somewhere.
It's right there in your packet.
Which page is that on? Do you have a page number?
2.
Yes, I think we've got.
Yeah. So I think we can probably work it. Should continue to work this list over the next few meetings, right?
Sure.
Just to do it in bite-sized chunks. Anything that's needs, is emergency or needs to be paid now. Certainly the ones which Evan pointed out. I think we can figure out a funding source and take care of that. I agree with everything on that list. I looked it over rather closely, and the filter is
Sorry, the list of this four items or the bigger list?
the big list,
Okay. Yep.
So talking about working on over the next few months, right? Certainly anything that has already been done, we need to pay for it. But the filter system is so smart. I mean, they're in town water though, right? Yeah. It's interesting, but I have a well at home, and I had to deal with a water heater that just kind of crud up and replace the whole thing. So that's probably what's happening to the library. I'm surprised that the town water just is so scaly that
It surprises
they
me
need
too,
that.
especially it's 4 or 5 years old. It's
yeah.
not that old.
Yeah, I mean, but they looked at it and they said it's nasty and needs to be replaced. So
I saw the inside of it.
yeah,
It was bad.
yeah. So are they actually descaling it? It says that they descaled the water and they fixed it. So
Of water heater.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is it clean and could do we need to replace the water heater or just add the filtration system?
Both.
Yeah.
So he opened up the water heater. He
Because it
had
was
to-
broken, right?
Because it was, yes.
There was an issue.
It
Got
was
it.
broken. That was related to when the fire department came in because there was a gas smell
Yeah.
and they had to shut the water heater down like my second week of work.
Yeah.
So it was so plugged up with rust and
Yeah.
soot and yuck that he had to clean everything out, replace all of the sensors in the middle part of the water heater. And he said, "You're good to go for now." And that actually, the children's room was having issues with water pressure, not being able
heard, yeah.
to run the washing machine. We didn't have any hot water pressure on the upstairs staff room. That fixed all of those issues. They're gone. He said it'll last for 6 months before it goes back to what it was, what he just fixed, unless we put in a filtration
Yeah.
system.
Right. So I guess what I'm proposing is we do the filtration system, but is it foolish not to also do the water heater at the same time? Because maybe it's more cost effective to do all of it at once.
We'll need to. Yeah, that was his recommendation is you need to do the filtration system and you're going to need a new water heater because it's just so
I think
damaged already.
I think what you're asking is, can we put the filtration system in to extend the life of the current?
And that's what he
water?
said. You know, that's kind of what I don't know what he said because you're telling me what he said, but that's kind of what I'm hearing is, you know, you're good for now, but you need to put in a filtration system. That's what I heard. But, you know, to be penny wise, pound foolish, right? Are we just kicking it down the curb to have to do it later and it'd be more costly down the road? If we can't fund it right now, then sure, we can do it later down the road and do it in piecemeal. But if we can fund it now, I think it's smarter to do it all together, I think is what I'm hearing also.
And was the filtration cost quote on?
No.
We
No.
don't have it yet. I was expecting it a couple of weeks ago in time for this meeting, but I have not.
Right.
I would
so-
think we would defer.
So we could do
that.
this
We can defer
piecemeal,
this.
yeah. Yep, I agree.
So the question I had was on the general ledger. There's FB library incentive, FB library equalization, and I don't know whether these and then the circulation, but that's something separate. What the balance was coming in, like, can we is this similar to, I guess, because it goes year over year, it's almost similar to like a stabilization.
I think the
account,
library
correct?
incentive and library equalization are two different funding, but it's basically state aid. So we can
Okay.
expend money out of either one of those two.
And
I mean, when we say state aid, I think the town accountant just,
so,
pulls it
but
from one of
but
those.
the combined figures of those two lines comprise our balance
yes.
that is separate from our annual budget coming into this current fiscal year.
This is completely separate from our
Alright.
town.
So
budget.
so
That should be down farther in here.
so it seems like we have some wiggle room.
We do. We have.
That even if we took care of things now, I mean, is there a short list that are priority one type things right now
Yes.
versus can't wait?
Those
That's what
four.
we
Right.
have to
Those
decide
four.
tonight.
All right.
And
That's what I would propose is that we handle the four right now and then we deal with the next one because we're still waiting for some quotes. You're still waiting for some assessment.
Great.
Yep.
And if you can prioritize those,
Yes.
we can work on those next month.
All right.
So I guess to get back to like the request to like have the pool of money, I mean, you were able to work with the town administrator, to handle that. Is it that he doesn't want it to go through that and get reimbursed for it? He wants to have it come directly from the library so we don't have to go do the back and forth? Is that
Yes.
what it
Correct.
is? Okay.
These were emergencies.
Yeah.
So,
So-
the invoices in there, they needed to be done in order to get things up and running again,
Okay.
in order for us to be in
Yeah, and
compliance
so-
with the
so we-
fire code, like
We
that
owe
kind
a
of
thank
thing.
you to him, and it was good that you set that up, you and Rachel set that up with him so that we were able to address those emergencies. So.
So, Mr. Chair, are you ready to receive a motion
Yes.
regarding this?
Yes.
All right. I move that the board authorize monies in the amount of $24,769.06 to be paid from the state aid funds for the items, per the January 27, 26 memo from the town administrator.
To reimburse.
We don't, you can just say pay it out of state.
But do you want me to list what they are in each amount, like further broken down, even though I've mentioned the dollar amount total?
I think it's fine the way you
I think
listed
it's
it.
fine the way you've done it.
Okay, all right. As long as this gets circulated, I'd like to just have a copy of this memo and such. All right.
Okay, second.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Everyone clear on what we're voting for?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. So then you can notify them that it's gonna come out of state aid.
Thank
All right.
All right, thank you for that.
So that spreadsheet is a really nice snapshot. So can we continue to keep that as you get more information and keep that,
Sure.
you know, even just like
Yeah. Say,
what we
say
closed.
paid, yeah.
Yeah, even just like, you know, close out items on it too. So
Yeah.
that over the next 3 months, that's the body of work we need to be focused on.
Great.
So then the second request would be, if that's urgent, do we want to authorize a pool of money that Katrina can approve upon without having to come to the board first? I think it would still come to the board afterwards, but she would essentially have already spent it potentially, or at least already approved moving forward with that. And the idea would be that those cases where it's, you know, safety or, you know, potential further damage, so something that needs to get addressed relatively quickly instead of waiting for the next month.
So we looking for it also to be state aid and then identify a dollar figure?
Yes, yes.
What do you think is a reasonable figure?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I
So
think Evan
20,000?
was suggesting, I think he was suggesting $20,000 a year.
Sounds reasonable, right?
Yeah, that was my notes, was 20,000 a year. And again, that's really only for potentially a month, less than a month. So it's between when it has to get taken care of and our next meeting, because if it's not urgent, she'll be coming to the next board meeting with those
Okay,
requests.
gotcha. All right, I get it.
For
So-
instance,
You know, whatever, this, sprinkler, well, like the stuff you had to do with the fire, Yankee Fire, you know, $8,000. Like if that didn't have to get paid for a month, she could just come to the next board meeting, we would approve funding and it would get paid out of that. But if it's something that had to get approved and taken care of quickly,
for instance, the ceiling tile in the second floor fell, and there's leaking from the roof. I need to call a roofer tomorrow to get that fixed. So it's
Well,
that
I mean,
kind of
it's like
stuff.
20 inches of snow on the roof, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we got lucky if that's the only thing.
So-
Hopefully,
So yeah, those kinds of.
I don't know, how would we
emergency
propose
things.
just tracking, like, so the board approves $20,000. I mean, how would we track how much you actually utilize that?
I think she'd have to just keep a report to the board of here's my expenditures, you know, for January,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
as you go throughout the year. And hopefully it's budgeted enough, but we can track, you know, kind of how you've been spending it. And, you know, if we have any questions, we can bring it up at the meeting. But,
So that we could put under like ongoing business, like an update on
yeah,
state aid expenses or something.
yeah.
Yep, okay.
So the motion would be for the director to have access to up to $20,000 of state aid monies for unanticipated expenses, or
unbudgeted and emergency.
Carrie, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss on this one for the
One
words.
question is, would it be physical repairs of the building only? Or are there other elements that you think would be potentially, you'd want to spend that on?
That's a wonderful question.
That is a
I
really
mean,
good
everything
question.
in front of me is physical emergency repairs of the building. So
But, you know,
Everything
when the
else
fire
can
department
wait.
came, didn't they come and have to do some kind of software update or something like that? They had to pay for the elevator going down?
I think that was prior to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But services, right? Like
There could be
services
some
would
kind of
okay.
service that,
Yeah.
I mean, the expectation is you never have to use this because everything's budgeted, right?
right.
And nothing is
hope.
nothing is an emergency, and nothing, you know, really is unexpected. So ideally, in an ideal world, right, you would still have that $20,000 at the end of the year. But you having the I don't know, scrutiny or however, scrutinize what really should come out of it at any given time. So at the end of the year, like say you spent $3,000 of it, that would be an ideal outcome. We could continue to budget, an appropriate amount.
Yep.
That would be my expectation. This isn't what we talked about at the other meetings, at least not how I had understood.
This is different. Than
This
the
is different.
other- Yeah, this is
Okay.
just maintenance type costs.
Okay, very good.
I know you were gonna look at what our annual maintenance contracts entailed, right? So a lot of our maintenance in the library budget goes to annual contracts for, maintenance contracts. So you were gonna try to get to see what that number was, right? So there's actually, that full maintenance budget is already spent for every year. Some portion of it is already called for.
Okay.
So if you could come back next month maybe with that as well. Okay, did we finish a motion or not?
No, I didn't
Okay.
even begin to make one.
Okay, yeah.
Question.
Do you want me to make it or do you want to do it, right?
No,
I guess it's the
I'll
word
defer.
is it unanticipated, emergency, like what type of
No.
expenses would you want to, like emergency, unanticipated
unbudgeted.
emergency? Is that a,
I can try to tackle this. All right. I move to the board, vote to authorize the chair to,
The director.
Director.
I mean, not the director. See, this happens late at night. It's like the fog sets in. For the director to have access to up to $20,000 in state aid monies. To spend without further appropriation from the board?
Without prior
Or,
board
or
approval.
without prior board approval? Okay, yeah, without prior board approval. For the purposes of funding unexpected repair work, unexpected maintenance and related items. Like when we talked about the computer or whatever, it could be related items.
unexpected maintenance and related items?
Yeah. And so that's in each fiscal year, so
I would say emergencies, because it might not just be a repair, it's an emergency, like a emergency item.
Does
Yeah.
it make sense to include anything like notification of the chair when it's spent
Or incurred.
or incurred? Yeah.
I think the board would get notified within that month, so I don't think that's
Okay.
necessary.
yeah, throughout the regular
Through our
regular
monthly board
monthly reports.
Okay, so I have authorized the director access up to $20,000 in state aid to spend without prior board approval for purposes of funding unexpected maintenance and related items.
So as far as the sunset provision of that would be through June 30th, right? Are you talking for the current fiscal year right now?
We can do, we have a pool of state aid money. I think it could be fiscal, it could be for the next 12 months, it could be annual or.
So wouldn't we want to define that?
Maybe fiscal year,
Because
since
when-
everything else is tied
yeah.
to the fiscal year?
Yeah.
Or we could continue to fund it as needed.
Great.
So
Fiscal
we
year's
don't need.
almost exactly 6 months. It's a pretty good trial period.
Yeah,
For related items for the current fiscal year?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should do it each fiscal year,
Okay.
like kinda,
Yeah.
For
like
the
if we
current-
need to increase it later, if 20 isn't enough for the remainder of this fiscal year, we can add more, but then let's start it fresh again next.
I think it's important to say emergency, right?
Yeah.
Which means things that can't wait until the board
So-
meets next.
So why don't we just say for the purposes of funding unexpected emergency maintenance?
Well, expenses, does not always have to be
Maintenance expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion made
Seconded?
and
There you go.
seconded by Chris. Very good. All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
is that a good for the rest of the funding? We'll just keep track of that, and next month we'll address the next items.
Sounds good.
Okay. So then next up is the children's page funding.
Yeah. Okay, so when I arrived at the Grafton Public Library, I was very surprised to learn that there is no library page for the youth services departments. And that we only have one page, especially for such a large library doing so much circulation. In my other libraries, both of the children's departments had dedicated pages because, particularly in Grafton, I think we do, children's department does 63% of the circulation. I asked Sarah to gather some statistics, and the children's staff does approximately 42 hours worth of shelving every single week. Yeah, every single week. And they have about 12 volunteer hours. So I was wondering if the board would entertain hiring a children's library page to help offset the amount of work that the paid staff does so that the professional staff can focus on professional tasks as opposed to tasks that can be done by somebody who doesn't need to get paid almost $40 an hour to put books away.
So would this be part of the CBA as far as actually creating a position first? In other words, you're asking us to fund a position that hasn't even been created?
It would be an additional page. So
Do we have a page?
we do have one page.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
the position exists, and that person is working how many hours?
20 hours. So
Okay.
And that's upstairs.
only upstairs.
So would this be like an additional union position, like the existing page position, so it'll just kind of slot in? Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
and the union, I guess we have to discuss it with the union, or?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'd have to figure out.
And do we have any money in our current salary budget for this?
Unfortunately not. That hasn't been appropriated.
And there's like zero, not even a portion of the funds could come from that. So you're looking to fund all of it with another source, okay?
Part of it with a different source, correct.
So a couple of thoughts. Ironically, as I'm reading this, if 42 hours are currently performed by professional library staff, they're almost making the argument that a full-time librarian could be nixed in exchange for 2 pages. Am I right? I mean, that's kind of how one could read this.
Well, yes, but the professional staff, instead of doing the professional work that they were hired to do,
Right.
are forced to do the page work because we don't have the person to do the
So,
page work.
since having come on board, has it been your observation that certain things that skill set, that librarian skill set, their focus should be, that they're falling behind on at all, or it's short-staffed, or because that would be the
Good
idea
question, yeah.
that what is not getting done that this is required. In other words, the efficiency that you need to reallocate or shift work would suggest that there's something that isn't being done to the level that it should be, or within the time frame that it should be. So
That's a wonderful question. I think that it's hard to know what what we're lacking, because I think this has been the standard of service for so long, because
Right.
the staff has been without a page for so long. I think that with this position, this page position, would ease the pressure on staff so that they have more time to serve patrons at the desk and answer
Do
reference
programming.
questions and yes, provide programming and plan for programming and do all of the other activities that they can't because they have 4 carts in the back that need to be shelved, and I really need to get ready for my program, but
Right.
I have to do this first.
So I guess the way that I think of it from a financial point of view is we have the remainder of this fiscal year, right? So we're asking to fund for the remainder of the year. So we're in January. We end June 30th. So we're really only talking about 5 months. So can we fund this for 5 months with our existing budget, taking into consideration that we were without a director for a number of months, right? So do we have room in this year's budget because of the fact that we did not have a director, for a full-time director of the full year? Is there any money available, budgeted money to cover it for the remainder of the year? So that's the first question. Then the second question is, we're budgeting for next year. We've already submitted a budget. So can the budget be reworked? Because we wouldn't want to hire a new person, even if we had enough money this year to cover them for the remainder of this year. But we can't fund it next year because we don't have the budget next year. I think that's what we really need to think about in 2 parts. Like, I guess if we don't have money for this year, then we could wait until next fiscal year. But again, it's like, do we have room in the budget? I think that's what we have to think about, because we would not want to hire somebody we can't keep them on.
Yeah, may I add to that? I mean, you echoed exactly what I was thinking too. We don't really have an appropriate funding source to pay, staff, right, in perpetuity, right? So it would have to come out of the
We have to
town's
kind of
budget at some
rejigger it,
point,
right? Yeah.
right? And so I know you came in right when we were doing the budget, and I think it's just unfortunate timing. I don't know if perhaps that page, we can give them more hours. The one who currently supports the rest of the library, but then you're now looking at a 35-hour page
Benefited,
position,
yeah.
Right.
benefited
And benefited
position,
position.
right? So I know you probably put some thought into that as well. Maybe how you can use existing resources as well, but so I think I think we'd love to help. Staffing has always been a very difficult challenge for the director. In the past, we'll support the director's proposals with the town in terms of what they feel they need for to properly staff the library. We've always done that. We've always fought for extra positions too. I just don't know that. I think it's great to bring this to our attention because we'll support that. But I don't know any other thoughts.
Well, I think
on how
also
to fund
too,
it.
like, we have to be very budget conscious.
Yep.
I'm sure, like, you've been here for a little while now. We do have, concerns about the overall town budget, so, we certainly can't ask for more money, from the town.
And I have a working conditions question as well, aside from a good point about the money as far as,
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing, but that's only a one-time thing, and we're talking about being in a possible override year. That said, when we talk about a change in working conditions, oftentimes the context of our discussion as a board to stay within the union parameters, the CBA parameters, is that you're not adding something to someone's job. If you were to take away something and make their life easier, in everyone's opinion, is that also considered a change in working conditions that need the union approval? And on top of that, if we were to take away things, And then those people said, sorry, that's not my job. And you've basically eased their job. And now, for some reason, either that person leaves or it's no longer funded. And then now you're basically fighting tooth and nail to give them back tasks that they were doing just 6 months ago. I wouldn't want that to happen. Is sort of busy work or non-professional level work or menial work or however you want to describe that, it's still part of a librarian's job.
Yes.
It's just a matter of how we best allocate our resources. I wouldn't want to get into a position where those various employees would say, sorry, that's no longer my job. I don't do that. So.
Good point.
Do we know, I mean, that was the point of my question and what you had asked about the compensation budget. Because we were without a director for a period, I would assume we have a balance in that piece.
It's not as much as you would think.
Because we did have the interim too.
We had the interim.
And even the other staff line item that's not under the director, we, due to some ongoing medical issues, we've pulled in a lot of sub hours.
Right.
So we're actually probably a little over on those line items as opposed to less.
But I do think I agree with the board in that it's careful consideration because it potentially will be needed to be added to the next budget. And if it's not in there and it doesn't get passed, then we have to come up with another funding source next year just as well.
But aside from the requests, one of the things you brought up is that's not in this memo, in this request is, and you used one example of carts or whatever. I would certainly like to see that sort of, it doesn't have to get into the weeds, but high level analysis that in this area, we're seeing X amount of quantifiable work. Call it a cart, call it a stack of books, call it so many tasks that are piling up because this person is doing, file work versus quote unquote real work, according to their skill set. I would certainly want to see what that is. Has that been presented to you in detail? Like, what are those items? Like, what is this task should take a day, but it's taking 3 days, and this work is piling up because I'm filing instead of doing. I would want to see it in quantifiable terms versus I'm overworked. And that's not to make light of people who say they're overworked. I think all of us in some respect could say we're overworked. But I would like to see it quantified.
Yeah, it would be nice to see some data about what's not getting done, which programs can't get done, or what,
Right.
what reference questions aren't getting asked, or what patrons aren't getting helped because of this.
Or is the phone ringing and it can't get answered, or there's 3 people waiting and one of them walked away because it was taking too long. I would want to see some observational stuff too.
Okay, I can definitely get that.
And I don't want to
I think
speak on
that's a
behalf of the other 3, but
I think that's kind of tricky. I mean, you did ask the staff to track like how much time they're spending doing that, but there's a lot of different options. Like if they're not, putting the books back, they could be working on a program, or they could be doing like there's different options. Like it doesn't mean. I don't. It's if you're spending your time doing that, you don't know what else like you're missing out on. I think, but I mean, if you can come up with something, great. But I think that's hard.
and the other thing too is that, and I don't know if this speaks to a larger issue of, I'd say borrow services, reference, technical services, and children's, okay, and then teen. So you got these 5. I don't know if you want to call them silos, but if are these sort of siloed areas, or if one area needs someone, do they borrow from the other? Is it one? So I know that there's certain tasks that each, and then managers that oversee these people doing all these different tasks within what we call like departments. Is it that one department is not borrowing from another, or how does that work?
Do you mean in terms of
Staff, like if one area is particularly busy and there's maybe a little bit of downtime, to shift a person from here to there to account for that sort of overage in activity.
I think that that happens infrequently, but I think that for the most part we're staffed where each department kind of takes care of their own
Right,
responsibilities.
if the children's room's really busy and the teen
Yeah.
room happens to be empty, it's not like the teen person goes over and helps the children's room.
Correct.
They just start working on their next program or
Right.
getting ready if some teenagers all of a sudden show up.
Yeah, because somebody has to be at the teen
In the
desk
space.
in the space. Correct.
Are we still having staff at the welcome desk?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep, that's regularly staffed.
So what I'm hearing is that the board is asking for a little bit more data and information. And
Yeah, I want to say it's a not right now, but we can continue to support this initiative, to certainly figure out what makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I think like trying to think about probably more towards like, is it something feasible for next year budget, and if not for next year budget, maybe even
Yeah.
the following year?
Yep.
yeah, because it is essentially adding staff. It's adding a position,
And
and it makes sense that that's in the annual budget.
yeah, I know you kind of addressed this in the report, but volunteer hours, is that something we could try to ramp up in any way, shape, or form?
So, yes, ish. As a former children's librarian, I can tell you that it is very difficult to have volunteers shelve in the children's room. There are many different small collections. It can be very confusing for people. It's very tedious. It is oftentimes you're crawling around on the ground, so it's not great for certain subsets of the population. So it's very difficult to get
And then
volunteers that want to continue on a long.
Is that because a lot of your volunteers are on the senior work-off program? Is that, how many volunteers do you have a senior work-off?
I actually don't know.
All right.
There's a handful, but none of them in the children's room.
Oh, okay.
Right, Cindy? Yeah.
Okay.
But also too, like, when you have a volunteer and they're only working a few hours, that's not free time for the staff because they need to manage, they need to train the staff, they need to manage, so,
Once you get them up and running, you're right. Like to get them going and to train, it's obviously more work up front. But once they're comfortable with the room and with all of the collections and with the flow of the work, then it is helpful. Unfortunately, it's never enough, right?
I think this is going to be a good segue, by the way. I kind of set it up for policy committee.
Oh, wonderful! See, we're on the same page.
So are you saying, Mr. Chair, that you want to just table this indefinitely, or do you want the director to come back with more details for next month's agenda, even if it isn't in the form of an ask? I think that.
I was implying that we'd come back with some more information
Okay.
just for future consideration.
Okay.
But I agree with the board that it's a budget issue
Right.
that we'd have to deal with as far as the fiscal year
Right.
budgets.
Because have you been asked to present a reduction budget too?
We have not been formally asked, but it's coming.
All right. And one more reason to sort of put the brakes on.
yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're a percentage of the town's overall budget, right? So that's,
Yeah, it's thank you for mentioning that. So I had put this on the agenda prior to the meeting where I learned that we were going to be called in for a reduction budget. So but I figured I'd go ahead and give it a good whirl anyway.
All right.
But that's certainly an area where if you want a board trustee to support you on that or help you look at the numbers and stuff like that, we'd
Right.
be glad to do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, discussion around the children's page funding? If not, we'll move on to the policy update with Aaron.
So we had not a quite fully staffed policy subcommittee meeting, but we had two trustees and Katrina as well. But we are hoping to have one additional staff member join us to really provide that in the know, perspective of, or do some of these policies make sense, or maybe there's a gap that we need to address with another policy, and just provide that kind of in the know feedback. So I'm excited to have that person join us, but they have not quite yet. But I think we will have some flexibility in terms of if we still want to continue to meet in person or have Zoom in order to support that additional member. And then we'll be fully staffed, so that's exciting. So we met at the library, I want to say it was last week, and we finalized the volunteer policy, which is for your review and potential vote tonight to vote in the new volunteer policy. Some of the things that we discussed at the regarding the last revision was the feedback from legal, and they talked about doing Corey checks for all volunteers, but we had decided as a board that as a subcommittee that there really wasn't a lot of risk in terms of just Corey checking volunteers 18 or older. And then the other question was that we discussed last month with this board was about home delivery and any sort of risk associated with people driving their cars and doing home delivery. We discussed that this is actually a very common service that all libraries do. So we wanted to make sure that we are not just saying we're not going to do it anymore because legal says it's not a great idea, but there's an appropriate form that they can fill out, a waiver, if they decide that they want to volunteer in that way and do home delivery. So that is for your review as well, and that'll go not alongside the policy, but volunteers will be required to fill that out.
I have a question, yes, with regards to the volunteers age 18 or older.
Yeah.
So, so it's prior to beginning as a volunteer. So if you have a volunteer who starts when she's 17 and then she turns 18 while she's a volunteer, how would we, I guess, do you keep track of the age of folks and then make sure they're Corey checked? Because that would be a very common scenario for somebody who's a junior or senior in high school.
As far as I know, we do not keep track of the teenager's age.
And I guess, does this policy, like it says, all volunteers 18 or older are subject to Corey background check to be completed prior to beginning. So are they kind of grandfathered in because they started when they were 16 or 17 and then we don't check them?
That's a wonderful question.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Not that I have a personal experience with that.
But can we just, I mean, it doesn't have to be written in the policy, but can we just have like an annual review of the volunteers, and that would be something that would come up in the annual review?
Yeah, that's a really smart way to do it because, to be honest, as a scoutmaster with the Boy Scout troop, they have Corey checks that need to be re-upped, right? So it could almost be like an annual review of your volunteer population.
Do you have like an actual list that you keep track of all the volunteers?
We do.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that it has their birth dates on it.
Yeah.
But it could be-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a reminder. If you've
Yep.
turned 18 in the past year, you can send, I'm sure you have communication with the volunteers, right? Email and phone numbers. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a great suggestion.
I had a question on, I found that a little bit confusing. All right, so we have, so Katrina, you sent us on Monday. Says here's a copy of the volunteer policy for the board to take up at the meeting on Wednesday. All right, and so it looks like a final copy that says adopted by the Board of Trustees, Library Trustees on 4/3 of 2025. And then there's another document that is nearly identical, that to me doesn't have any draft language nor redactions or like stricken out language, for me to recognize this as an updated draft or an amendment. So it's basically the one with the voluntary acknowledgement and liability release form, Aaron, that you're speaking of. That is this the subcommittee's work, and because I'm trying to figure where it's different, where it's the same, and it looks nearly identical, but like the one that Katrina sent us has under volunteer expectations. Well, this one is numbered. The what I think is the updated one, but volunteer expectations goes A through G. This only goes A through E, and I can see that there are a couple of redactions. So I'm thinking the one Katrina sent us is the original one, and the one that has the release form is what the subcommittee worked on.
I made a mistake.
That
I
was
didn't realize it was in the packet, so I asked Katrina to resend it. But is it the same copy that was in the packet or no?
So the one that went out in the packet, I'll have
Is
to
numbered,
confirm with Christine.
like volunteer age restrictions, volunteer application, those are all numbered 1, 2, 3.
All right. So what is the unnumbered one as it exists now?
That's the one that as it exists now. So
Okay.
I went through Aaron and made kind of checked off all of the edits that we had gone through, and I'm wondering if I forwarded the edited version to Christine and she just sort of plugged it in,
Okay.
and then when you emailed me, I realized that they weren't actually checked off. So then I went through and checked everything off and sent it.
So if it's a draft, I guess it would be great if it could have that in what's the
Watermark.
term? Watermark.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that it's watermarked. Just so I know that what I'm looking, because if these start getting circulated, it's like what is the real one and what is not. Well, it's whatever's online, but
Okay.
and then just for, akin to bylaw review committee at town meeting, where you're looking at a document and there's like a preamble that says, okay, and you could look at one document and say, here's what is, stricken out and here's what's added. Because right now I'm trying to compare the two, and I don't know, exactly what the changes are.
Yeah, can we confirm which one we're voting on? Is it the one that's numbered?
The one in the packet, I would say, is what we're voting on.
The one in the packet's the one that's numbered.
Sorry for the confusion.
Okay.
I know.
So
And then just one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I would agree, I think for future, it would be great to have a red line version, so we see the original
Right.
and then all the red line edits.
right.
And then when we approve that at the meeting, the red lines can be accepted, and then it would be approved as that. Is that how you guys are creating them or not? Not really redlining?
No, because I mean, at that point, it's gone through, the union. It's gone.
That's true.
It's gone through legal.
Right.
Right. So these things are way marked up.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Sometimes they're PDFs we're working off of, and this is why we're trying to get better with SharePoint. I think
Right.
it's a great idea.
Okay, so then you would envision you'd have an old policy and a new policy, just
Yeah.
two documents, okay.
Yeah, or
that's
something
fine.
that's completely brand new that you guys have never seen
Right.
before because it's a
Right.
new policy that we're introducing to the board.
Okay,
So-
that makes sense, so
yeah.
then, drop that expectation of red lines.
Okay.
So we're currently looking at the numbered volunteer policy.
The one that's in the packet
The one
on
that's in the
page
packet.
4.
For
And to be honest, we don't have a volunteer policy, so there's nothing for you guys to compare it to.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
for
we don't?
clarification.
No, I'm looking at the
Oh.
website, so there's nothing.
Okay.
So the date on it,
Oh,
the date there was
Okay.
when we sent it to legal, I'm sure.
so these are
It's taken
okay.
7
so,
months to get.
All right, so we didn't have one. All right, so these are two drafts. One is more current than the other.
Well, the one in the pack is what we're reviewing.
Right.
tonight,
All right.
approving.
All right. Okay.
Does
Question.
anybody else have questions on the,
Yeah, in terms of the Cory check, I'm curious what the justification is for 18 and older versus under. I know you mentioned that. My only frame of reference for Cory checks is day camps where, people under 18 have to go through Cory checks as well. And so that's my only other frame of reference. So curious why we would draw the line at 18.
But unless someone were tried and as an adult, those Cory checks wouldn't necessarily elicit stuff depending on their age. So isn't the idea of having them 18 to make sure that if there's anything that they did recently would show up on the record?
I mean, I don't necessarily know in terms of the specifics behind that,
Okay.
but just having worked at them, you know, even in high school, I had to have a Cory check on me when I was 16, 17, just to work. So I'm kind of just curious, but it sounds like it went through legal and
That went through legal?
that
Okay.
went through legal and passed
Okay.
muster there without comment.
Well, their comment was, you really should Cory check everybody, you know, so, but I don't remember the specific, conversation we had, why we felt that it wasn't, that the subcommittee felt it wasn't important to Cory check, you know, kids under 18.
Well,
I think,
and-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's no reason why we couldn't put a motion to change that age and then approve it as is with an age, right?
Yeah. I
think
don't know
that
if
would
you
make
remember
me
the
more
specific
comfortable.
discussion.
But
What was that,
I-
Aaron? I'm
I-
sorry?
I'm talking to Katrina.
Oh, I'm comfortable with the 18 and above.
I think it just, it's sort of standard practice to do 18 and older in libraries. I don't, that there's no reason not
Yeah.
to, but there's no reason like not to consider it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, so this is the way that we wrote it, and legal put in the comment that, you know, you should Cory check all your volunteers. So I leave that to the board.
yeah, I think I certainly would feel comfortable with a larger age range. It, you know, again, I don't have a lot of experience in knowing what libraries typically do or otherwise, but that's my only frame of reference, and particularly if that was legal's comment.
So generally, how would a minor be Cory checked? With
I
a,
think you'd have to go to the,
an
well,
ID.
I know volunteering for the schools, like as an adult, like to do like, you know, story time or whatever, you have to go to the municipal center, to the superintendent's office to fill out the Cory form, and then it comes back, and you have to do it, I think it's every 3 years, I believe.
But I think you're asking, like, what's a Cory gonna find for a 15-year-old?
Well, no, I'm asking like, how is it even done when they don't have an ID? You know.
Yeah, like, yeah, if you were thinking, because our volunteers start at 14, they wouldn't even have their driver's license yet. And some 16-year-olds wouldn't, or 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds might not have a driver's license. So I think we'd be potentially, and also too, like, we're talking about like volunteers like a couple of hours a week. Like, we could be, I guess, missing out on like giving these kids an opportunity to get started with volunteering.
I agree. It just feels like the downside risk is way worse than getting a couple extra volunteer hours. That would be
But
my
it-
argument.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like,
And particularly if that was legal's recommendation, they must have a way to,
I
they
mean,
would suggest doing that for those under 18.
this is what Gemini says. Says Massachusetts Cory is generally required for individuals 17 or 18 or older, depending on the policy. It says some organizations like youth sports or schools require Cory checks for volunteers who are 15 to 18 year old, but the norm is 18 and older. So I'm not sure that answers anything.
Yeah, so I get it for like children's camps and children's organizations, right? Where you're dealing with children a lot. I think a library is a public institution
right.
that deals with all age ranges. So maybe that's because I think the way that you just wrote that is like, yeah, it's typical among, you know, organizations where you're primarily dealing with youth, right? Which is not the library. You're not primarily dealing with people, you know, involving youth.
Especially unsupervised. Because if it's in the children's room, it's going to be supervised. That would be the one concern I would have, would be the children's room.
Yeah, so we could change the age range to 17 and older. I mean, unless we want to just do all age Cory checks, but yeah. So unless somebody wants to make a motion to amend it, we can continue on. It being
But Aaron,
9 o'clock.
Aaron, getting back to your earlier point that there wasn't a volunteer policy in place, why does this say 4/3 of 25?
I addressed that.
I'm sorry.
You missed that.
We wrote this 9 months ago.
Oh, all right. So,
So
okay.
he thinks that's when it went
So
to
y-
legal.
Oh, so you're
Or when it got sent to
so
legal.
you're anticipating. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
I will entertain a motion to accept it as written, or as, if we want to change that, 18 and older to another age group, I'll entertain a, for that. I don't see any other, I don't have any other comments on the policy itself. I thought it was well written.
I just wanted to make one suggestion for an amendment, since I don't think I can. One thing that I did end up changing in this document was, section 1, letter C, instead of 10 to 14, 10 to 13, because it runs up against, in section A, the ages 14 and up, and legal did say that that was a little confusing. So I did make that change. That was one of the red lines that I had edited before I sent
Right,
it out.
but
If you're 13,
to not be confusing, the policy as written is what we're approving tonight, the way that you have amended it,
Oh,
So-
okay.
right? I know you and I have worked on this for months.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think you need to go over all the,
So what is the final
no, the
amendment?
one in,
never
the
seen it
one in the
14 or
package,
13?
sorry?
I didn't say anything.
no, the one in the packet does say 10 to 14.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
you-
So we want to
wanna
amend
change
that to
that?
say 10 to 13,
10 to
point C, right?
Because point A
1C.
says 14 and up.
So 1C should be 10 to 13.
yes, we
Although,
agreed on
if it's
that at the last meeting?
Yes, we did.
Okay,
I likely will make a motion to alter the language around 1D, but do we want to separately?
You can include
Change
the 1C
1C.
as well, if
Okay.
that's what they're agreeing to.
So I'll make a motion to alter the language of 1C in the volunteer policy to indicate ages 10 to 13 instead of 10 to 14 as written in the packet. And also make a motion to alter 1D to include all ages for query checks as recommended by legal.
I think they should be two separate motions.
Okay, I mean, that's
No,
what I
we
asked.
did-
but-
Why?
we just said so. It could be one.
Well, we're voting on one policy. So you're changing C to 10 to 13 and
Yep.
D to all volunteers.
All ages, yeah.
So that would be 10 and up. 'Cause we don't accept volunteers less than 10.
But they don't do query, you said query checks are only for 17 and up,
No,
right?
he didn't say that.
No, I didn't
They're
say-
saying it's standard. Nobody does 10-year-old query checks.
No.
The legal's recommendation was all ages. So
Okay.
I think that's what is to follow legal's recommendation.
Okay.
Motion made. Anyone seconding it?
I'll second it just to put the discussion on the floor.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Further discussion.
So I'm just curious. Normally, procedurally, sometimes people will remain silent on seconding a motion to defeat it. And so is that what was going on here, or are people not for?
I'm not.
Chris is-
I'm not. I am not for query checking a 10-year-old.
All right.
I think that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Because we could always vote it down. I just wanted to at least
Yeah.
put it to a vote.
But legal did suggest all ages.
They did, yeah. That's why we're
And we-
that's
we
why we're
did-
discussing.
And we didn't have a volunteer policy at all before. So
And then on 1C, run this by me again. So 1A talks about 14 and up. And then 1C talks about volunteers between the ages of 10 and 14 may be accepted on a conditional basis. Is that when you say, so why would we be changing it to 10 to 13 again? You're saying 10 through 13?
Yeah,
Yes, so.
It's like it's like greater than or equal to, right?
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so I'm wondering if maybe we should actually not replace the hyphen with an actual word. In other words, 10 through 13, volunteers between the ages of 10 through 13 may be accepted. Is that something you?
That's fine. I just was trying to mimic whatever the changes were that had been recommended.
Okay.
That's fine. I'm fine with that wording.
Because so 10 to 14 would seem, some people interpret that differently and would think that's an overlap to 1A. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So, through you, Mr. Chair, would the group,
I
would
think
there
that's
be?
semantics, so I think
Yes, with that
there's no issue
semantics.
changing the
Okay.
2 to through.
All right. right.
I think the question is around the Cory check, so,
Okay.
I don't know, just put it to a vote, or do I ask how many people are in favor of the all ages versus, you would propose 15 and older?
So how do we
Gary?
come upon this as one motion versus two?
I think it's one motion,
It's one motion.
single motion
Yeah.
for
All right.
C and D.
Motion.
But it seems like we may have issues with one versus the other.
Correct.
That is accurate.
And so would it hurt to take these up separately, or, I mean, I know the motion's on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it's 9:06, so
I know.
either we accept or defeat the motion and
Yeah.
move on with the night.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so this, the motion been made and seconded. All right, I have no further discussion.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote, so changing it from 10 to 14 to 10 through 13, and all ages, are subject to Cory background check.
You need to say all in favor.
Yep, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So I declare the motion,
All right, so
defeated.
let me ask you this. I'm not so keen on Robert's rules. Do you need to go roll call when it's a split vote like this, or no?
No.
I don't
No.
think so,
All right,
because it's a visual, everyone.
all right,
raised
so
their
it's
hand.
3-2
Yep.
in favor.
Yep.
All right.
Defeated,
no,
3-2.
defeated.
3-2 defeated.
Defeated or in favor?
Defeated.
Defeated.
Defeated, all right.
Motion was defeated, 3-2.
So it's gonna stay 10 to 14 and then 18 and older?
We didn't approve the
We
policy.
didn't approve the
Because
policy
we
at
put it
all.
all into, that's what I think,
Oh.
we should have separated it out, because we could,
But you're not gonna approve, we're not gonna approve C and defeat D, we're still not gonna have a policy approved,
Yeah,
so
we need a policy.
we need a
approved.
policy.
So we need to keep making
Oh.
motions until we agree, or this goes back to policy committee.
Right, so that's the question, do we wanna have further discussion, given that it's 9 o'clock, or do we wanna wait till next month?
So all right, I'm a little bit confused. I thought that, I thought that Chris's motion was more of an amendment. All right, in other words, amending the main motion. In other words, we haven't gotten to.
No, we didn't have a motion yet.
So we haven't gotten to a main motion regarding the whole policy, correct?
His was the
That was
motion
the whole
for the
policy.
main policy.
I
with
thought
two
his.
changes.
yeah, with change.
Oh,
But we haven't voted the policy. So the options are entertain another motion if we think we can agree on C and D amendments to get the volunteer policy in effective, or we push it to next month.
For it to
Would
be
the-
effective, do we need to have unanimous consent? Or is it
No.
just,
No, just,
okay,
just majority.
okay.
Would the board be in favor of changing D to all ages 15 and older?
now
Just by verbal.
what's so special about 15? I mean,
Well, I'm
There
just
has to be a
thinking, well, maybe it's
basis.
14 then, because 14 and up, oh no, that's 14 and up.
You know, we can probably just table this.
Okay,
Because
Okay.
I think now we're talking about
I know,
not just leaving the
I know.
policy as it is. Now we're talking about, you know, all ages, then 14 and 15 and then 17.
Okay.
It's, I don't think we're going to come to an
okay,
agreement
so let's
tonight.
table it and have the policy committee move forward to next month.
Yeah, so I didn't anticipate this much time being needed on this.
Yep,
So we need to make this, bump this up in priority next week, so we have
Right.
lots of time to talk about it.
Yep.
and I agree. We've had this discussion before. I think I agree with you in the earlier comments. I thought we were bumping up on a routine basis, policy updates to the head of the meeting. Wasn't
yeah, that
the
was
plan?
that probably got missed in, well, A, we didn't have any comments from the board on the agenda, and
Right.
two, we have a new scribe who we
Right,
started with.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we only met last week,
Right,
so we
Right.
had to push our meeting
Yep,
out
no problem.
a
It's
couple
not a
of
problem.
weeks, so.
Can I
Alright.
just make, in consideration, and I'll be, when you go back to the policy committee, my thought is that if we have somebody who's doing home delivery and has a driver's license, those people probably make sense to have a Cory check, right? Because they have an ID and they're not gonna be directly supervised, they're gonna be going out and bringing things to people's homes. So those people really do make sense to me to be Cory checked. But people that, are 16 or younger who don't have a driver's license, who are gonna be in the library supervised by staff, I think that's onerous to require a query check for them.
But there's
So
still,
maybe just think
there's
about
still,
that.
there's still in the process.
I'd like to
of
elect
kids.
Yeah,
to just
we can-
stop
we can
talking
stop
about
talking
this.
about
it.
We already
Okay.
stopped talking
How,
about it.
what, how old are you to get a license? Is that 16?
More than 16 to get a
16 and a half.
license, 16 and a half at a minimum to get a
Okay,
driver's
okay,
license.
thank you.
So I'd like
Okay.
to finish the update.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Aaron.
So, very, very interesting policy discussions surrounding combining the library displays policy, which, you know, if you don't, if you can't picture it, library display is something that the staff would curate in order to showcase the collection. Simple as that. It could be based on certain holidays or, you know, trends in the media, whatever that may be. But a lot of libraries don't have their own library displays policy. So, you know, we're talking about consolidating our policies as well. So, Katrina has taken the time to combine a material selection policy with our library displays policy to really call it a collection development policy. And that's just a common name that other libraries use. So we thought that was a nice name for that. But one of the very interesting things, and this is not, I don't want to belabor the discussion tonight, but and help me with this because this was new to me as well. But part of the collection development policy talks about, you know, removing items from the collection, you know, based on patron, you know, views on certain things that are controversial, right? That they feel that our library shouldn't have. So rather than challenging the item, a patron could challenge the policy because the policy is what the board backs in terms of the librarian's you know, purview to select things for the library, right? And you can read this policy or come to a policy committee meeting, you know, and take a look at this because it's really inclusive into what we feel is within a librarian's purview to develop the collection. Now, if there's something that isn't in the spirit of the collection development policy and, you know, what was in the purview of the librarian, you know, to put in the collection, a patron could challenge our policy, not an item. Mm-hmm. So that's a very, very different shift into how, you know, we're looking at people challenging what we have in our library. So we have a pretty good draft, and I think the policy committee felt that that's what we want to present to the board, you know, in the future when we're ready to vote on that after it goes to, you know, legal and it goes to the union as well. But I just want to kind of plant that seed because we felt it was a nice shift, you know, for item challenges.
Yeah, no, I really like that too. I mean, A, it reduces the number of policies, but two, it makes sense that those two are kind of grouped together.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a really fantastic discussion. And then for priorities, we're going to prioritize the meeting room policy at our next meeting, as well as the collection development policy, which you know, we feel is in a pretty good state. So the next meeting will be on February 11th.
February 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for all your due diligence and all of this. It's one of those things that kind of sometimes is out of sight, out of mind. And you know, I appreciate that you put a lot of effort and work into all of this.
And I, you know, I've said this before, the policies are so important to the board, to the staff, and to the patrons, right? It impacts all three,
Yeah.
so it's a really important purview of this this board.
Yep.
So I just want to confirm February 11th because it says February 4th in here.
February 11th because that was the date that worked for Prabhu because he
Yep.
travels.
Okay, no, great.
So we want to make sure everybody's represented.
Okay. Given the late hour, I don't want to shortchange Katrina in her director's report. I think the big news with having Christine come on board is exciting, so thank you, Christine, again. I think you addressed most of the issues with the page, the children's room, and the all the funding and maintenance issues. Are there anything else that you like, maybe top two bullets? Otherwise, I would encourage everybody to read through it in detail.
I think we really did cover the most important things. The only reason I had the in the spreadsheet with the expenditures, the adult audiobooks highlighted is, I just wanted to point out that we decided to move $1,000 over from that line item to the overdrive expenditures because we've been seeing a huge increase in demand for ebook and e-audio through Overdrive Advantage. And so we gave Allison a little bit more money to satisfy those demands.
That's great. It's good that you're keeping that close eye on those different,
Yeah, how does she
Media.
How does she see those demands come in?
So
Is it like somebody saying, "I want my library to have this item"?
yeah, so we do get those requests,
Yeah.
but the back end of the system called Overdrive Advantage will tell us what Grafton patrons have on hold. And so, yeah, and like down to the specific title.
Cool.
So we can see that 34 Grafton patrons have the correspondent on hold and are waiting for our copies. So, and then we can go ahead and apply.
And we can fund.
purchase
those.
another
Oh, wow.
title based, or 2 or 3 based on where people's interests are.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. Please do.
I'm a big audiobook junkie. Yeah. Cool.
And I'll mention on the library director's report, thank you for the detail provided. I read it, and so I just have one comment to share with the board is that piggybacking off the whole material selection policy is the freedom to read statement. And on the first page, there's those two long acts, act regarding free expression. That's being tackled by the Mass State Senate. And then there's another one, an act addressing challenges facing public libraries and digital resource collections. If you want to just see the link or Google it, the first one, an act regarding free expression, is S as in Sam 2328. And you can read, it's like 3 pages long, the summary. And then the second longer one about challenges facing public libraries and digital resource collections, that's S as in Sam 2710. So just Google it and it'll pop right up, and I think it'll give you a good idea of what they're really attempting to protect here as far as against all the attacks on free speech and free expression. So
isn't there a way in PDF to have a hyperlink in the PDF?
there is, but I didn't see one
It's
here.
not in here, no. I mean, it looks like a link, but it's not.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, and so yeah, because of that, I looked it up myself. So
That's great.
I'll just S 2328 and then 2710.
Okay.
So
That's a great point. So could I ask that we get the stamped copy when it comes to the board
Sure.
For the agenda.
for the agenda? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's one on the website we can pull up. But I think that's part of it too, is like after they stamp it, sometimes the hyperlinks get lost.
right,
Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
that's true. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Katrina on the director's reports? Thank you for including the stats because it's always really nice to see
Definitely.
see those stats.
And the expenditures.
And
Yeah.
the
That's really
expenses.
fantastic. Thank you for that.
Great.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right. So no public input. Next meeting. So the policy subcommittee is Wednesday, February 11th. Next Friends meeting is the day before that, Tuesday, February 10th. Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 25th. I am not going to be able to make that meeting. Is anybody else limited? Because I can't make the week before either.
Is it a holiday?
Is that during school vacation? No.
No, it's the week after.
Okay.
Okay, I should be around.
I'll be out of town.
We're talking about the 25th, correct?
Yeah. Okay. So I will confirm with Rachel that she can make it because then she can lead the meeting and probably get out less than 2.5 hours.
All right. I guess, Mr. Chair, are you ready to
Yep, I
accept
think
them?
that's it.
All right. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion carried and ending the meeting at 9:20. Thank you.
Thank you.